Are you ready for the best Kansas City Chiefs insight? Welcome to ChiefsBlitz.com YouTube podcast with your host, Nick Athen, Andre Tillman, and producer Henstad. They'll break down the three-time Super Bowl champions as only they can do. Here's your host, Nick Athen.
Welcome back to the next edition of the Chiefs Blitz. Put your Colorado thing down. Chiefs Blitz on YouTube. I am your host, Nick Athen, along with Lou Montagna, the other old guy in the room, Coach Andre Tillman, one of the young guns, and, of course, producer extraordinaire, Henstad, who makes the show go from start to finish, and everything that you don't see, he's all doing it in the background. Gentlemen, it's always good to be talking on a Monday after a Chiefs win. How you guys doing?
Victory Monday, boys.
Right.
Let's go.
Victory Monday, let's go.
Yeah.
Prove me wrong Mondays.
Yeah, definitely.
Me wrong, man.
Yeah.
And I think the Chiefs gave me a gift. They gave me a gift.
Which gift is that?
The gift of Ross.
The gift of Ross. We'll get into Justin Ross.
The gift of Ross
remains next to the Kelsey injury, the hottest topic on social media continues to be Mr. Justin Ross. But first and foremost, what a weird game yesterday. I thought this was, for the most part, one of the better games the Chiefs have played. I think that they may have peaked a little bit ahead, maybe not taking the Vikings as serious. I think defensively they weren't as sharp at stages of the game, but in a crunch time when they had to, just like the week before, they made the plays in the fourth quarter that ultimately preserved the victory, and that's what you want. Patrick Mahomes, I thought, had a really good game, didn't have any mistakes or turnovers. The Kelsey injury was a huge scare. All of us probably felt like, oh, my God, what's going to happen next? This is after Mahomes hurts himself. And we're thinking, this just isn't our day. You look at what happened to the Buffalo Bills early in the morning against Jacksonville. They lost Milano, a couple of other starters. They're in trouble because that great defense is missing some key bodies. But for the Chiefs, hey, listen, it's a gutty win. It's a good win. They took the command with a 14-point lead in the fourth quarter. Back-to-back touchdown drives to open the first two possessions. I think in the third quarter they had, 13 minutes of possession, something like that, or 11 minutes of possession, and were able to put up 14 points. For me, it's a great win. You never make excuses for anything less. They overcame some obstacles. They didn't get in their way too much, and they beat a really good, I think, Minnesota Vikings team, and they held their superstar wide receiver down to some 35, 40 yards before he left with an injury with a hamstring pull. So, hey, all in all, for me, A+. Get out of Minnesota. The Chiefs won on the road in New York, in Jacksonville, in Minnesota. 3 house of horrors for this organization. They did it in back-to-back road games. To me, that's an impressive feat.
I think they came out. Shout outs before we started, man.
Are you ready for the best Kansas City Chiefs insight? Welcome to ChiefsBlitz.com YouTube podcast with your host, Nick Athen,
shout out for the
and producer Henstad.
Shout outs to the doctors over there in the Chiefs locker room, because everybody thought Travis Kelce was done. I don't know what the kind of doctors they got over there, but hey, it looked like a non-contact injury. Looked like he was going to go down, not return, but he came back. He came back, and he scored a touchdown. A touchdown. But what you guys take on the game overall, Andre?
Universal Soldier. They back there sticking these guys with some serum, the Universal Soldier serum. But honestly, guys, let's get right into it. My guy. My guy I'm impressed with, man. Oh, my God. That was a breath of fresh air. Guys, don't we agree? A breath of fresh air. My man extended. I said red zone. Because, honestly, Justin Ross is made for the red zone. He's made for the red zone. It was 4 for 2, 28 yards. He just getting his feet wet. So I can deal with 2 for 4. I can deal with that because he's finally getting targeted. Travis Kelce did go down, but he was 11 and 10 for 67 yards and a touchdown. To come in there and do what Kelce do. it was slow, but it was Kelsey. It was Kelsey. And again, Justin Watson, incredible catch, right, guys?
Two of them.
What, 3rd and 17? I believe 3rd and 17. Deep ball, go get it. Yeah, awesome, fantastic. Kadarius Toney was 6 for 5 for 26 yards. So when I'm going down the list. The Kansas City are starting to put everybody together. They're starting to really utilize everybody. And for me, I'm thinking like just use 2 people. No, they're using everybody now. Now I'm looking like, well, okay, I'm kind of seeing the formula right now. I'm seeing the formula. I'm seeing it. And of course, everything opens up with Pac. When Pac run the ball, everything opens up. So again, I was very impressed with the offense. Very impressed with the offense.
Well, if you take maybe like a 10,000-foot view, I see it as still one of the youngest teams in the league.
Absolutely.
Learning how to win games. I mean, the younger players are experiencing something that what it takes to win games in the NFL. And this will really help them down the stretch, especially playing in the bigger games as as the weather turns. You get into the playoffs, all these younger guys, the experience of last year's playoff run, plus these, I guess you have to call them 1-score games for the most part, and just making winning plays. You talked about Justin Ross. You see the potential. He makes that catch on the sideline. You kind of get images of a D-Hop or, just a great receiver on the sideline. And to Andre's point, you're probably see him a little bit more in the red zone, but they've got so many weapons right now. They're still all working this in. Rashee Rice made some big plays, got the touchdown. He's still on a couple, he may not run the complete route that Patrick thinks he's going to run, but, on a couple of plays, he did what you're expecting him to do. So the wide receiver group is still growing. We're going to continue to see that. I'm beating a dead horse here, but that's kind of what I see. And defensively, the back end, I mean, there was a lot of pressures, right? I mean, there were some sacks and so forth from the down lineman, but the back end, Snead and McDuffie. And from now on, we're going to refer to him as T Cuffs because he puts the bracelets on those receivers. But Snead did a great job, on Justin Jefferson. You just don't see that. I think he had 3 catches for 28. And then going back to those injuries, I think somebody had posted something about the turf at US Bank and a particular type of turf. I can't remember the exact term, but supposedly it's due to be changed next year. Well, geez, the Wilfs got plenty of cash. Why couldn't they have done it this year? Because you saw Jefferson go down, Kelsey goes down. You see these different things happening. Again, you can't blame it all on the turf. Things are going to happen.
True.
That's a class 1 organization, class 1 facility. Let's get that turf buttoned up, and at very least for the sake of the play.
That opens a debate for another show. But at some point, the Players Association, has to go back to the owners and say, listen, we want grass. We don't want the turf. Now, I will say this: the turf that Minnesota uses has less seams. I read about this last night. One of the guys who knew a lot about the turf, had a lot of give. It wasn't like some of the others. So it was, at least for its time, as close to the state of the art available than you see in a lot of these college programs. And I don't want to get too much of a tangent here, but you saw the Aaron Rodgers, injury. You've seen a lot of the injuries in the game in London with the Bills, where the turf was partially because of the turf, and they recently changed everything over. So listen, for Kelsey, I mean, he just stuck his cleat in the wrong place. He could have been an inch to the right or left, and we're not having this debate. But at the end of the day, it didn't matter. He missed a series, in the second quarter. 1 in the third came in, to seal out the game and score the game winning. What was the game winning touchdown? Because the guy's just a man. He's just a baller, and what we have in Travis Kelce is absolutely incredible to me. To see a guy who is, as he said it from Friday, on top of the world. He's got a new girlfriend who's one of the most famous people on the planet. He is playing for the world champions. He's got 2 Super Bowl rings. I counted it, guys. He has 25 commercial endorsements. His podcast is number one with his brother. And this guy's only motivation in that locker room, in the training room, was I got to get back on the field for my teammates. This is the rarest of player that you're going to find. Mahomes is the same way. These two guys, I don't think you will see this from a duo anywhere else than what you're seeing here in Kansas City right now in this generation, this time as a Chiefs fan is to be so great, because these two guys care about one thing, their teammates. At whatever sacrifice that is, they're willing to make it. And you're looking at this young football team on offense and defense, and they're starting to play like that too. And that's scary for what this potential dynasty could become. If all these young people can stay together to some point, they can learn, and they don't know any different. It's winning Super Bowls in Kansas City, and they're getting a first glimpse at the two guys on offense and then Chris Jones on defense. This is how you build a championship atmosphere. This is how you win Super Bowls. This is what it takes. And I was just amazed at Travis. I thought for sure, when he grabbed his knee, I thought, we're done. And that wasn't the case.
When you hear all these people talking about culture, that's culture right there.
Mm-hmm.
Those two guys personify it. And like you said, Nick, that's just a tremendous example for the rest of the team, especially the young guys, that this is just business as usual. This is how we roll. We win games, don't apologize, move forward, survive and advance.
Yep.
I'm gonna say this. It's the listen. It's the physicality, guys. Okay, the Chiefs is physical now. The run game is we got a strong physical run game now. We have a playoff style run game now. Okay, we don't have that finesse that we had years ago. Okay, we didn't. Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
We have physicality now. We can trust this running back now, right? And then on with that being said, look at the receivers. Like, there's no such thing as a shutdown. Like, you're not shutting down nobody,
sir.
You're not shutting down. You're not shutting down. Excuse me, bow tie. I sure would appreciate it if I can finish, sir. Thank you. So, if look at it like this, there's nobody on the Chiefs team that you can shut down.
Mm-hmm.
If you shut down EBS, okay, we got Watson. Shut down Watson, we got Scott Moore. Scott Moore, we got Tony. Tony, we got Ross. So I'm loving what they're going with this offense right now. Then on top of that, the defensive back, like we stated earlier, Snead is phenomenal. Honestly, my opinion, guys, I think they should sign Snead. Honestly, like, you're not gonna find another corner with that experience and that physicality nowhere else.
Yeah, hometown deal.
Homegrown.
Yeah, hometown deal.
Homegrown. But again, like a lot of Chiefs fans is out there experiencing and seeing what's going. I know I put some prayers up when I first seen Travis Kelce go
Absolutely.
down. I thought my heart dropped. I said, "Here we go."
Your heart dropped.
Yeah, well, I was like, we already having trouble with this young wide receiver core. Then the main target goes down. We don't need this right about now. But again, I shout out the doctors, the doctor staffs over there, the trainers, the team that they put it well. That is a championship training staff there, because they got their man back into the fight. Just like a boxing match. If you see them trainers, some good trainers, they see they box a bruise up, they get their man right back in the match. What you guys say, Lou?
Call out his name, Rick Burkholder.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You can say what you want about whatever anonymous survey the players did or whatever, but the proof is in the pudding. These guys come back, seem like quicker than other players. You don't see nearly as many injuries, knock on wood. So absolutely shout out to his staff. I don't know any of the other names. I apologize about that, but the guy heading it up, Rick Burkholder, he's been there for years. So
yeah, and they're receptive too. That's the difference. I mean, you look at all the injuries, like the Bills in particular. How receptive are they to the training staff? How good is the training staff? When you've got a lot of injuries on one team. And the Chiefs, I mean, knock on all the pieces of wood that we've got in our house.
Yes, sir.
They really haven't had to deal with anything ultra serious so far. They haven't lost anybody to the season. Any given snap, anything can happen.
I apologize, Nick. I forgot. Is this a tradition? Everybody knock on wood. Okay, I guess I'm gonna knock on wood too. Then.
Yeah. No.
I got to knock on wood because I want to mess that chemistry up.
Yeah, don't. Yeah, you're not old enough to understand.
Did you watch Hard Knocks with John Gruden?
Man, I did.
Knock on wood if you're with me. Come on.
I got you. I'm on it. I caught on. All right,
I'm glad you put your shirt on.
Right.
Little sizzle for some more. It was just a little sizzle. It was just a little sizzle.
Too much inside baseball there, folks.
You went behind the scenes. All right, fair enough.
All
right, next topic.
Speaking of going around and going behind the scenes, Patrick Mahomes is quietly beat all the teams besides the Chiefs in the NFL. What you think about that, Nick?
Yeah, I mean, this is remarkable. At the age of 28, he's beat all 31 teams. Now he beat the Colts this counts postseason because he beat the Colts in the postseason. Is 0-4 in the regular season. But think about this. I mean, he's 28. He's just passed 25,000 receiving yards, fastest to 200 touchdowns. I mean, every week he's breaking something. But this is an incredible feat. I think Brady was 30 and Manning was either 31 or 32 when that happened. Now, granted, the scheduling is a little bit different now than it was, but still, I think he's won. I think they said on the broadcast last night, he's won 9 games or 8 straight games on the road against NFC teams. The guy just knows how to win football games, and to do this at this age is incredibly remarkable. And again, this is the golden era of Chiefs football. It will never, ever get this good again. And the fact that this guy is so committed to the organization, they're paying him as the top dog. He is the top dog. He's the most you either love this guy or you hate him. And I think that's a majority of probably 75 to 25, even around the other NFL teams. Quietly, if you said, hey, would you rather have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback than, this guy? The majority of them would say absolutely yes, because he's a once in a lifetime talent. And for him to break that record at that age, that's a lot of wins. And we are all the benefactor of it. And he's just now at this age entering the prime of his career. So for the next 5 years, just imagine what kind of records, he could break. He'll be the next guy to beat every team twice, which he's already beat a lot of them twice. Some of them 10 times. So it's just phenomenal.
It is most definitely. It is. I mean, Mahomes is on another level. But let me say this: he is on another level, right? These teams, the defense is going to get harder, much harder, more physical. They're going to understand who Patrick Mahomes is. They're going to start evolving, adapting to what the Chiefs like to do. Let's be honest, Andy Reid is great, but Andy Reid ain't going to be there for long coaching in Kansas City. So now, when Andy Reid leaves, we're going to see what Patrick Mahomes is all about.
Yep.
Right.
I agree with you.
We're going to see what Mahomes is all about right now. But as of right now, Mahomes is playing fantastic right now. I mean, if you got something to say bad about Mahomes, then you just don't love football, because Mahomes is incredible, man.
I mean, it's just fatigue from people that don't watch him every week and just, oh God, it's the Chiefs again. Oh, he's on another commercial. I mean, going back to Tom Brady. I mean, Brady's probably the best comparison, because at a certain point you just started hating the guy for no reason other than they won all the time.
Reason.
Yeah, and you hated their head coach even more so.
But you got Coach Reid, who's the most lovable guy in the league. I mean, he's just a special kid. They hit a home run. I mean, for all those years that I'm just going back throughout my life. I mean, maybe one time they took a swing on a quarterback, and I think he was the 7th pick overall, Todd Blackledge. Nick, you're going to remember this. It was it was the same draft class as Jim Kelly and Dan Marino.
They had Dan Marino.
Elway had gone first, but you didn't know if he was going to play football at that point because he didn't want to play for the Colts. And, in Marino, there was all these rumors, coming out of Western PA. I mean, he's in my backyard. I mean, we played them in high school. Anyway, maybe there was some drug issue, all this other stuff, and he slips, falls into Shula's lap, and the rest is history. But my point is that they never, ever really took another swing on a quarterback in the draft. And this was kind of the next one after 45 years, whatever.
Yeah.
And bang, out of the park.
You make a great point, because, I mean, Dan Marino should have been a Chief. He thought he was going to be a Chief. John Malkovich, who was the head coach who came from the University of Texas, watched Todd Blackledge and I think the Sugar Bowl throw that 55-yard bomb.
Oh my God.
And that was it. He was convinced this is the guy. And everybody was pounding the desk to take Dan Marino. And Malkovich, who was a first-year coach, said, no, Todd Blackledge is my guy. Todd was a bust. Todd should never have been picked by the Chiefs. I don't think he was a first rounder, but that game, I think it was the Sugar Bowl.
Yeah, they won the national championship.
National championship. It was lights out.
They beat Georgia. I mean,
Yeah.
it was a big deal. I mean, it was Penn State. I mean, but it was all about the defense, that team. I did have a question for you, Nick. I don't mean to hijack this piece.
All right.
But was Lynn Stiles the GM then? Who was the GM at that point? Do you remember?
No, that was still Jim. I think it was still Jim Schaaf.
Okay.
I think he was still the GM. He's the one who hired him. And I know we're going way, way back into the Chiefs history books, but
the 83 draft was unprecedented. And again, just my point is it took that long for them to take another swing on a quarterback.
They never tried.
They had to
trade.
It was always a later round guy or a retread.
Yeah, I mean, telling the Chiefs never took a quarterback.
Carl Peterson. No, Carl Peterson was afraid to take. He did not believe in taking quarterbacks in the first round. His highest pick, I think, was in the second round. Was Matt Blunden.
From Virginia.
Virginia, who was a complete bust.
Big dude.
He would go after third day picks.
Yeah.
And you circle back to now, and even John Dorsey, he was not convinced about Patrick Mahomes. And Dorsey was just, I don't think he was a particularly good GM, but it was Brett Veach who just, the story's been told 1,000 times. If
Chris
you're going to be
Marcus Peters, Kareem Hunt.
Listen, I'm just saying, I thought he was a good evaluator of talent.
Dorsey was an excellent scout.
He was terrible in negotiating contracts.
Good scout, but terrible in negotiating money extensions.
Well, not so much
extensions,
that.
timing. Yeah, the timing of the extensions,
just
everything.
Being in charge.
He was not well. He was not well liked. He was not well liked in the agent circle. But Brett Veach, he just put his head. He refused to say. He refused to say anybody challenged him to say no. We're not taking this guy. He convinced everybody to be yes.
He saw something.
And now and now look at Mahomes. I mean, look what he's doing. And it takes that. And this is why you have to have a perfect marriage of the right quarterback with the right head coach, the right general manager, and the right ownership. And case in point, look at the Denver Broncos. After yesterday's loss to the Jets, they're coming in Thursday night on a short week. The Chiefs had been the Denver Broncos for so long until they got Patrick Mahomes. They tried Joe Montana. They tried Elvis Gerbach. Steve Bono, Dave Craig.
I remember Steve Bono. I remember
Steve DeBerg.
Trent
Green. They tried all these guys that either were at the end of their career or had something to prove, and they never ever took that franchise quarterback. And again, we're thankful that the Denver Broncos moved up in the draft to take Paxton Lynch because the Chiefs were going to move up to take him. They wanted him. They completely believed in him, and it
Nick,
just all worked out the way it was supposed to.
You're right, Nick. But remember, let's not sleep on Joe Montana now. Now Joe Montana gave us some thrill. He gave us a thrill. He did.
Well, he was like maybe Rodgers going to the Jets.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
I mean, at that age,
Manning and Broncos.
His best years were behind him.
Okay,
but even at that age, he was better than any alternative we were going to have.
Yeah, they should have played him one more year. I think
Marcus Allen, that whole group. I mean, they had some opportunity, but again, it just was the guys at the end of their career. There's only so far you're going to go.
Yeah, we've gone full circle. We finally have a franchise guy.
Yep.
We finally got. That's why
we've settled it.
We finally got our guy.
Kansas City, Mahomes is the guy. In case you didn't know, he's the guy.
And until well, I ain't gonna say that. Smoking Joe did show out against my guys, and Joe's back. Joe's back, guys. I know against my guys, but they're back.
Come on, stop it. And speaking of speaking of a guy, man. Everybody, so do y'all believe that before we close out, do y'all believe that Snead will be back here next year? Or you think
absolutely.
Or you think the Chiefs is gonna use his viable right now and try to trade him away? What you think, Nick?
I think it's a really tough one because you've got Humphreys, You got Nick Bolton. Even the punter Tommy Townsend is going to demand top dollars. You've got the Chris Jones things, which I believe Chris will be back.
Mhm.
But as far as Snead goes, they were concerned about the knee. Clearly, holding him out, most of training camp, not putting him in any games was the right move. Clearly, the job he did on Justin Jefferson yesterday tells me that his knee is just fine. And he got in his face and he got in his head. He shoved his hand up in his grill a couple of times on the same play to make a point. Say, hey, I'm here. I'm the guy you have to beat. But I think it's going to be. I think it's if he wants to play for a winner, if he wants to win Super Bowls, it's going to have to be a Chiefs-friendly deal because they're not going to pay him J.C. Jackson money. I don't think the corner market's going to get that kind of coin anymore. But if they're willing to pay him an average of 12 to 15 million, which even to me is high for a corner, that's probably what it's going to take. The Chiefs will have plenty of cap space in the coming years, especially after restructuring and moving Mahomes' money around. They're going to go after a number one wide receiver. That's going to be a high priority. And I'm telling you right now, the way Justin Jefferson embraced Patrick Mahomes after the game yesterday, all I could think about was, what did he whisper in his ear?
Come and get me. Come and get me.
Was that a Juju Smith? Was that a Juju moment with Chris Jones on the sidelines?
He turned down a lot of money from Minnesota. Okay,
because
he doesn't know who the quarterback's going to be. How good are they going to be this year? Cousins is probably out of there for sure. Are they going to draft high enough to get one of these kids? Is he going to be, open arms to that kid? But as far as Snead is concerned, he has certainly earned it.
Yes, he did.
He was a Chiefs draft pick. Nobody expected much, coming out of Louisiana Tech, and like he is overplayed. He's over delivered. Here's where it gets a little tough is that if Charvarius Ward got that kind of money from San Francisco, you got to believe there's a team out there willing to pay L'Jarius Sneed kind of money because he's a little bit more well-rounded. He could play inside, outside. He's a tremendous blitzer. So you want to have him back. I would love to have him back, but where does Veach invest his money? What is that? And according to Nick, what is that T. Higgins contract going to cost them?
Yeah.
And they've drafted, perceived, they've drafted DBs very well. You're going to probably draft another one or two this year. So, it just depends. Where does Veach want to invest the money? Snead is definitely worth it. I'll end
Hold on, Lou. I don't think Williams ain't it then. Williams must not be it then.
Williams is not it.
Stop.
Not yet.
I put it like this.
This is his second year, guys. The kid has the skill level. They just need reps.
My man got shook on 4th and 2 for the first down, Lou.
I won't give up on Snead. If I'm Kansas City, you got home. He's homegrown. You drafted him in the 4th round. You drafted him in the 4th round. A lot of people, he was a safety coming out. Transferred to corner. That is a steal. That's like a Richard Sherman, right there, delivered right there in your hands, Chiefs. What are you going to do with it?
And where did Sherm end up?
You're right.
Come on, man.
It's right here. It comes down to money.
I'm telling you, because the physicality Chiefs never ever had a corner that was that
Chris Jones.
Yeah, maybe.
I would have paid him to Chris Jones. I'd rather pay him to Chris Jones. I would.
In his prime.
He is younger. I mean, there might be an argument there, but I think Jones, he is at a place right now, and I think just when you hear him talking, and again, I mean, he's on a podcast with the Kelseys, but and I agree with Nick. I don't think he has any desire to leave Kansas City.
He don't.
It almost sounded like he didn't want to go to camp, right? This was his way to skip out on camp. And he did. And look at him. He's fresh as hell. He gets a sack, at least one sack every game.
As hell, Lou says. But honestly, you're right.
Again, is Veach kind of playing against that because he realizes this too and like going to try to make him hold out? not hold out, but maybe take a little bit less. I think he ultimately will take a little bit less, but I don't know that Snead is there because, again, he was only a 4th round pick. He hasn't been paid yet.
No,
this is his opportunity at a payday, and you can't. I don't know. It's easy to talk about somebody else's money, but if somebody throws that $15 million a year in front of
The
them,
Jets.
I don't know about the Jets. I mean, the Jets have a couple of really good corners right now.
Let me throw a wrinkle.
You asked Snead over there?
Yeah, let me throw a wrinkle in this conversation. If the Chiefs, I'm not going to say that. After the Chiefs defeat the Detroit Lions in Super Bowl 58 in Las Vegas, and Patrick Mahomes wins another MVP in Super Bowl for Kansas City with this young core of wide receivers that he has developed himself, worked with this young defense, regardless of who they sign or bring back, because I think this is the most depth this defense has ever had in Kansas City since the Hank Stram era, in my opinion. These free agents whose agents shut the door on going to Kansas City this past year, and there were some big-time players, and there was some heated exchanges, and the Chiefs were used as they normally are going to regret it. Because if you want to win Super Bowls, you want to play in AFC title games, it doesn't matter the roster you have in Kansas City with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. And that's why guys like Jones and Snead internally and Humphreys and Smith have to say, what do I want to accomplish in my career? But this next year, I'm telling you, if Justin Jefferson whispered into Patrick Mahomes' ear and said, I want to play for you next year, you know what's going to happen? He's going to play for the Chiefs next year because he's going to tell his agent, get the deal done, and Veach will structure it in a way. If T. Higgins says, I want to come to Kansas City, not that I'm saying they're going to get both.
No.
He's proving it. You just look at all these quarterbacks. Look at all these quarterbacks in the NFL. You look what happened yesterday. That tells you everything you need to know about the lack of consistency.
Already on the Chiefs.
Well, tell me, Justin Jefferson doesn't see his best buddy Jamar Chase playing with Joe Burrow, thinking like, all right, come on.
Yeah, I mean,
let me play with one of those guys. I'll play with Mahomes.
So you saying Chris Jones in a 1st round pick for Justin Jefferson?
No,
I would never do that.
I would in a heartbeat.
I don't think they're going to have to trade for him. Maybe they would have to wait a year, but
they're not going to trade for him now. That would be if he were to pull that. If Kirk Cousins gets traded, which is after another loss, I think that's probably likely. Then maybe it's a possibility. But I don't know if the Chiefs are going to be willing to give up that draft capital.
No.
They'll give up.
I mean, if you look at it, the production from both guys,
either way,
but both guys are lights out though. You're not gonna miss a beat. You're only gonna get tremendously better,
right?
With either one.
But I don't think they're gonna pay a ransom for the wide receiver position.
You don't think a 1st round pick is worth Justin Jefferson?
Well, I gotta believe Minnesota is gonna be asking for a lot more than that, quite frankly.
Yeah.
For them
Snead in a 1st round pick.
For them to make that deal, I mean, now again, you're taking the Chiefs' 1st round pick is going to be in the 30s, right? I mean, it's not really, a lot. You're not really getting a whole lot out of it. Their own 1st round pick is going to be much higher than that. So that's going to be a tough thing. The only way it would happen is if it was a free agent move, or he just said, "I'm out of here." I mean,
I don't see the.
And this is last year too, right? This is last year too, right?
He turned down a contract that was richer than what Tyreek Hill got.
A huge.
He's out of there, guys.
And he doesn't want to. I mean, he loves Kirk Cousins. They've had a great relationship. They work well together. I mean, how can you dislike Kirk Cousins? I mean, you just can't. It's impossible.
Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. He's
a very good quarterback.
He's a good quarterback.
I think his head coach did him a lot of disservice yesterday. Some of the play calling and all the timeouts and all that probably didn't help. But listen, Jefferson, and even and Andy never talks gushingly about other players like he did in the post game, and that was obviously to pump up his guy who did a great job. But when Andy praises you, that's a significant note on the board to put on the whiteboard moment where you say, is somebody planting the seed?
Right. So
I hope so.
Yeah,
so
and again, it comes down to the dollars. Where are we going to invest the money?
Almighty evil dollar.
Damn right.
Right.
Who's
Right.
you want it? You want to get the bag.
You want
win
that
as
bag,
well.
Lou. Talk to him.
Yes, Kirk Cousins is a good quarterback. Is he ever going to be elite? No. Players see that. They know who the elite guys are. There's only so many spots in Buffalo, in Cincinnati, in Kansas City,
Yep.
maybe even in Jacksonville. If you go that far down the line of
Will
elite quarterbacks.
Will you take Diggs? Diggs look
And
like
here's a little nugget for a future show. How about Brock Purdy?
Stop it. He's a
They are doing him the biggest disservice. The fact that he's got a roommate to help pay the rent. I mean, come on.
Brock Purdy is a dog, guys.
He ain't that guy.
I mean, Iowa State of all places, and this kid comes on. And they've got the right quarterback for the right system.
Yes, they do.
I agree. Ray, I'm gonna say something sacrilegious here to you, is that he is giving me some Montana vibes.
Man, he is.
I agree with you.
And he plays with tremendous confidence, man. I'm like,
he doesn't have the strongest arm. He anticipates windows. He has the weapons, and he's got and they both had genius play callers. So I mean, and it's the same organization on top of everything else.
Could y'all see a rematch between the Chiefs and Niners in the Super Bowl?
That was my prediction before the season.
The Niners are the best team in football.
They are, man.
The Niners is not getting past the Eagles, sir.
What? Between the Niners, Eagles, and Lions.
They're not getting past the Eagles. That's a whole nother topic. That's a whole nother topic, sir.
The Lions ain't getting past the Eagles. Or the 49ers not getting past the Eagles. I'm telling you that. Watch. Purdy is that quarterback. He's good. He's in the system, but he's not that guy. He's not Patrick Mahomes. He's not Joe Burrow. He's not Josh Allen. He's not Lamar Jackson.
Well, so far he doesn't lose. He does not throw interceptions. And tell me that some of those throws aren't NFL elite throws.
Yep.
I mean, I was skeptical too, but you keep watching them, and he just keeps proving it. I mean, you can't argue against it.
I'm hearing excuses. I'm hearing excuses from you, sir.
Guys. So with that said,
offensive line, running back, receivers. Is that the Kansas City Chiefs of old with Tyreek Hill and Kelsey?
All right, let's go.
Are we talking about weapons now, sir?
Hey, we're coming back. We're coming back on Wednesday. Save it.
Okay. I said for Wednesday.
We can debate more on Wednesday.
All right, we can.
Nick, go ahead and lead us out, Dre. Before you lead us out, Dre, go ahead and give everybody a shout out in the comments.
Oh, most definitely. Shout out to my main man Kareem, aka Joe Delaney, Colin Donnie, Vincent DiCario, if I said his name right. Yeah. Sorry about mispronouncing your name.
Yeah, his mom makes the best Mexican salsa anywhere on the planet. Oh my God.
Well, we must try the best Mexican salsa.
I'm gonna reach out to Vincent, and
I'm getting a double scoop, sir.
We'll get some. We'll give him a little plug on the show next week. But
love the love, guys. Again, love y'all for commenting on the show. We love it. But again, San Francisco and Kansas City Super Bowl.
I'm all in.
That's it.
I'm in.
I'm all in.
Lou, so what you got is coming from on Wednesday with Chiefs who?
I can't give you any clues now, but we will have a Chiefs.
We did so well last week.
It'll be a current player, and I'm hoping that somebody guesses before I give the player's jersey number, because that's kind of the lowest level.
Okay.
But I'll try to throw in some clues that make it a little bit more obvious.
So we got to make it fan. We got to make it fan friendly. So what do you think about this, Nick? If the fans get it right, we put up a poll and we send them something, or a gift card. Fair enough.
I got plenty of stuff.
So Nick, go ahead and lead us out.
All right. So the first person that answers the question before we do, on the social media links, they will get a personal item from my memorabilia collection. How's that?
Man,
worth the price of admission.
And it worth some change. Trust me, it's worth some change.
Worth the price of admission.
Depends how generous I feel. But anyway, hey guys, we'll be back on Wednesday. We will preview the Denver Broncos, and you're gonna hear my Sean Payton rant because I'm going to unload on this guy after what happened yesterday with the Giants. Nathaniel Hackett whole mess. I'm going to unload. I'm tired of this guy. I don't like his shtick or his act one bit. And he could rip off the sleeves off his shirt, but I could care less. This man is going to ruin the Broncos more than they're already ruined. But we'll save all that. But we'll be back Wednesday. We'll preview the Chiefs Broncos Thursday night football at Arrowhead. Will Taylor Swift be there? Will Travis Kelce be there? Hopefully by Wednesday, we'll let you all know. You guys, thanks everybody for checking out the Chiefs Blitz podcast. Go to chiefsblitz.com. Click us on all of our social media links, Facebook, Twitter. Please subscribe. It's free, our YouTube channel. And we were very close to laying out a schedule with some special guests. They're going to be agreed to come on the show in the coming weeks and months. And I think you'll all be pretty excited about that. So peace out, everybody.
Let's go.